underage drinking in Pennsylvania is considered a minor offense. It's if I see an underage drinking party, maybe I shouldn't go there with this, but if I see an underage drinking party, I can't go inside the building without a search warrant. I have to have information, or there has to be another crime going on inside that makes it an emergency, where I can then enter without a search warrant. Otherwise, I have to retreat, and while they're having their party, and hopefully aren't aware of police presence, we can call out the magistrate, and apply for a search warrant, and then come back and serve the search warrant for the underage drinker. That's not going to happen very often. I don't have the men to sit on the house to watch the house for to make sure everything stays under control. State police, we're thin with law enforcement in Greene County. Don't want that. As long as everybody behaves themselves, we don't have a lot of activity here. That's what makes Greene County so attractive. But when it does happen, there's not a lot of resources. We have 3 magistrates. And they rotate on, they don't want to get called out. They don't like calling them. There's also drinking while driving. There's also an open container law. We have in the borough, we have no drinking in public, down on the public streets and in the parks. You can have a backyard barbecue where you can drink if you're over age. That's just kind of really blanket over the laws real quickly. Pass on to either side.
Yeah, whoever would like to speak furthering the discussion around the laws, but also the consequences.
The magistrate would like to address that.
Yeah, and the enforcement of those consequences as well. Okay, well, I brought a copy of the law because I figured you would ask, and I can't remember. No, there are numerous laws that are related to underage drinking, such as misrepresenting your age. If you go into an establishment that sells alcohol and you misrepresent your age, it's illegal. There's a crime committed. If you purchase, consume, possess, or transport liquor or brewed beverages, again, that's the underage drinking law that we all know and hear about. But there's also, if I were to go take a minor, which a minor under the alcohol laws or anyone under 21, into an establishment, and I'd say, hey, I know that person, they're old enough to drink, give us something to drink. Again, that's a different representing a minor is of age charge. And again, that's illegal and it's against the law. The inducement of minors to buy liquor or brewed beverages. If I encourage a minor in any way, shape, or form to purchase alcoholic beverages, pleasure, that's illegal. Selling or furnishing liquor or malt or brewed beverages to a minor. Again, that's, if I'm a parent and my kids want to have a party this weekend, so I go out and buy the beer for them, and I go away, even though I'm not there while it's happening, I'm responsible. I bought that alcohol, and the fine is $1,000 for the first offense and up to $2,500 for a second offense. Not to mention the civil liabilities. If I provide that alcohol for a child, and somebody leaves that party, crashes, and is killed, there are civil penalties for that. We can be sued, and some of the lawsuits that come out of that are quite expensive. There again, we all hear of somebody getting a false ID, so they can go to a bar and buy. If you produce that false ID and furnish that false ID, again, that's a violation of the law, and you can be held criminally penalized for that. Just to carry a false identification card is illegal. If you're the underage person and you have a false card and you present it, again, that's illegal. Along with the fines that you hear for all of these violations, and again, some of them are summary offenses, some of them are misdemeanors. And the fine for underage drinking is basically $300. But the other parts of that, a lot of times kids don't think about is the first time you do it, it's a $300 fine, and you lose your driving privileges for 90 days, and you now have a criminal record. you go to get a job, that will affect your ability to get that job.
Does that stay on your rest? How long does that stay with you?
Forever.
Forever. Okay.
There is a possibility of having it expunged from your record if you go for a period of time without any other offenses. It's a long, expensive process. You can happen. But if you don't go through that process, it stays on the record forever. The other things that I was talking about, such as furnishing alcohol, those are criminal offenses that are misdemeanors. You can end up in a court trial. You'll need an attorney. You'll have to go to court. You may face jail time. You may face very expensive penalties. Even if you were able to get the minimum possible, you can get on the ARD program. You're still going to have to do community service hours. You're still going to have to pay financial penalties. You're still going to have many consequences that happen, and you'll be responsible for it. Each and every one of these provide for a penalty that will affect you for the rest of your life. And normally, kids can't think that far ahead. You know, a kid, I'm sure most kids don't go out and think, well, if I underage drink tonight, this is going to affect my ability to get a job in 20 years from now. Most of them don't think about tomorrow morning, more or less 20 years from now. But it's a consequence. We've seen over the years, I think all of us, it used to be, and I'll use the word screw up, if you were a screw up, and you realized at some point in time, you could go to the service, and you could pretty much come back after that, and you were honorable, and you could get everything taken care of, and live a nice life. Nowadays, I talk to kids every day and I'll ask them, you know, what's your plan? What are you going to do? And they've been in trouble and everything. Well, I'll go to the service. No, you're not. Service won't take you. Times have changed. It used to be service would take anybody who was available because they needed bodies. However, today, I don't have the cost, but one of the recruiters told me it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars of what it costs to train a new recruit. They don't want to put that money into somebody who's not reliable, who's somebody who doesn't have an education, somebody they can't count on. Where I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, I want somebody that I can know I put that money into, and I'm going to get something out of it. I don't want to drunk. And you try to tell these kids, you know, you better come up with another plan because service won't pay them. We've also had people who have, it's a minor offense. I mean, if you look at the crimes code, it's a summary. That's the least serious of all offenses. However, I've had investigators from the federal government come in and go back through our records and look and see, has this kid ever had an underage drink? It's a summary offense, but that could mean a difference in whether you get a good federal job or a state job or some other type of job. The one I'm thinking of is a federal position. This kid, if he got the job, he would have had federal pension. He would have had, you know, all the retirement benefits that went with that after putting in and making a very good salary for many years. The question is, was he going to get the job simply because of an underage drinking case? And I don't know what happened in that particular case. If you have 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people applying for the same job, and 3 of them don't have anything on their record, and 2 of them have something, it's a way of eliminating people. I'm not going to tell you you can't get a job if you had an underage drinking. I'm saying times are hard, jobs are hard to come by. Good jobs are even harder to come by, and it does affect your ability. But kids don't think that far ahead, so again, as parents, we need to help them think that far ahead.
I'm going to ask Trooper Lewinsky and Craig to further the discussion on the laws, but also to talk about the effectiveness of the laws and the enforcement. Is there consistent enforcement of the laws in Greene County?
One I see being violated more and more is one of the dumbest, most misguided things I've ever seen is parents furnishing alcohol to minors. And if you